South. We'll talk about the NFC South champions. The NFC South champions. The New Orleans Saints. I'm sorry, I got to get it in. My favorite meme circulating around right now is the Homer Simpson laying in bed with the Super Bowl trophy going, yeah, this is how I sleep at night, knowing that the New Orleans Saints won the NFC South. That they swept the NFC South. It didn't win the one that mattered. But the New Orleans Saints obviously have, a big shift coming as well. The Drew Brees thing, we talked about it earlier, whether he's going to come back, whether he's not going to come back. That really, at the same time, while everything hinges on that, also nothing matters about that because they're dead against the cap.
$70 million.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't have a lot of movable contracts.
Nope.
They have a lot of dudes that
they got Quan Alexander.
That will save about $13 million, if I remember correctly.
Mm-hmm. 13, yeah, just a shade over $13 million. They also have two other contracts that they could just cut loose and save the entire contract. No guaranteed money on it, no dead cap hit. But
Ryan
I don't
Ramczyk
think
and
Marshawn Lattimore. Marshawn Lattimore and Ryan Ramczyk. And I don't think those are guys.
Ryan Ramchyk's one of the best right tackles in the league. Marshawn Lattimore is the top 12 corner in the NFL.
Could you see them trying to move either one of these guys?
I could. And that's the thing. The Saints are going to come up against decisions that they don't want to make. And right now, this is my curiosity. So the one thing the Saints can do is they can kick this can down the road for one more year.
Okay.
That is a thing. They could extend Drew, move the cap number, that saves some money against the cap. They can restructure some guys, and next year they're going to be in hell. Is that what they're talking about? Is that the reason that Drew hasn't said anything? Is Sean Payton in his ear going, we can go one more time?
Right.
And after this year, this is your swan song. After this year, there's nothing we can do, because the math that I did, they would be $135 million over the cap next year if they did what I think they're going to do.
Right.
If Drew comes back.
Well, if Drew comes back, it's got to be an all-in year. Yes. It's got to be that one last push for a title. This is it. This is the swan song. This is going to be the rocking chair tour for Drew Brees, because I feel like that's the only, he's been so close 2 years in a row to calling it quits that this would be the last gasp. And I think, I don't know that wouldn't be the smart thing for them to do. Just try to get one more year. End Drew on a high note. Try to anyway, and then deal with it another year. We're kicked the can down the road this far. Why not do it one more time? If that is the possibility, I think that might be their best path.
They just have so little capital. That's the thing that bothers me. They're missing.
They only have 3 draft picks.
Total.
3 draft picks, that's it. They pick in the first round, they pick in the third round, and they can pick in the 5th round.
Yep. This is a team that's going all in repeatedly. So now, if you do it one more time, you can rest assured this team's going to be irrelevant for 5 years. But do you start that a year early? Drew retires, you run Jameis or Taysom Hill or whatever you decide to do, and it's going to be a complete teardown. Or is Sean Payton currently in Drew Brees' ear going, we could do this one more time? We got one left in us. If you've got one left, we've got one left.
And I got that wrong. It was 1st, 2nd, and 4th. They have their own picks in the 1st, 2nd, and 4th rounds. Other than that, they're
nothing
out.
Else.
Right. They traded all their other picks away, and their 7th round pick they had to forfeit. So, so they got 3 picks to work with. And so if you wanted to move a Marshawn Lattimore or Ryan Ramczyk, you could get probably a lot for both of those guys. Maybe not so much. I would think Ramczyk would get the bigger haul in a trade.
I think you're right.
But Marshawn Lattimore, he's probably worth a 3.
Oh, he's worth more than that.
A 2?
No, I would say he's a good corner. I think he would get a 1.
Oh, okay. All right.
Be a late 1.
You're the value guy, so.
It would be. That's what they would ask for.
Right.
Now, you got to understand, Carson Wentz just went for a 2 and a 3. That's ultimately going to be a 1 and a 3. And Carson Wentz is a guy that might not be in the NFL 16 months from now.
Right.
Marshawn Lattimore definitively will. Now, it's not as premium of a position, but he is markedly better at it. So, I mean, and that's the question for the Saints is, you're going to lose guys like Marcus Williams, Trey Hendrickson. They have a ton of free agents that they can do nothing with. Sheldon Rankins, he's been hurt so much that, I mean, when he's on the field, he's good, but he stays hurt. And this is a team that has missed on a lot of draft picks. Their good's been great. Alvin Kamara in the 3rd round is a hell of a pick. But they've missed, just god-awfully whiffed on numerous day 2 picks, and they've been terrible in day 3.
Yeah.
And this is what happens. Now your high-end guys are getting paid. You don't have any depth. Wah.
They're also going to lose Jared Cook.
Who cares?
Which, I mean, he is a steady target.
He is a
Drew
living,
Brees.
breathing human being. I will give him that. He does have 2 feet.
Well,
and
your boy Adam Troutman, he's going to get to take over.
I like Adam Troutman a lot.
He's going to get his chance to show something this year with Jared Cook being out of the way.
Adam Troutman was on the 6 to midnight team last year.
Yes, he was.
And I like him a lot. I just really hope he's being thrown to by Jameis Winston and not Taysom Hill.
All right, so let's talk about it. Obviously, you don't have the money to do anything in free agency.
No.
What do you do with those draft picks? You got late round picks in the 1st round, the 2nd round, and the 4th round. Where do you go? What do you target? What are the holes that they have to fill?
Well, they're so thin. Like, they're thin at everything.
Look at they got 13 guys on the roster that are making $10 million or more.
Yep.
2 of them are making damn near 20.
Yep.
So, yeah, they are very thin.
See, this is the problem with when you draft too well in the first two days, and then you're too bad in the last day. Because you don't have any depth. So you're this team is so top-heavy, and there's just not a whole lot they can do. What are they going to target in the draft? I think it depends on who they ultimately don't tender. Who they don't find a way to bring back. Trey Hendrickson's going to be gone. So I think you're going to need a guy like that. I look at guys like Azeez Ojulari. I think that would be a good. Zaven Collins fits this team tremendously.
Okay.
I just don't think he's going to be there. I think Zaven Collins is one of those guys that once the pro days start and you get in front of this kid, first of all, to talk to him is one of the most impressive things you will ever hear. I've seen interviews with him. He's an incredibly impressive
And his life story is
His life story is the shit that they make Disney movies about.
Right.
And I think once he gets in front of teams, that's not going to be so much a thing. This is another problem of being constantly good but never getting over the hump. You're picking in the 20s. So every guy that you could wind up with here has a ward. You don't pick a guy at, what are they picking at, 26?
28.
28, something like that. It's on the screen, but sunglasses.
Sunglasses can't see the screen.
Can't see shit. Every guy in that area is going to have wards, or they play a non-premier position. And I just look at New Orleans. I think they need another linebacker. I think they are going to need help along the D-line, and then you're going to have to replace whoever doesn't make it back. So if you have to trade Ryan Ramczyk or trade Marshawn Lattimore, that's a hole.
Yep.
That's a hole that you're now going to have to fill.
I think that may
and I think that's New Orleans is going to be if Brees comes back, they're going to be in survival mode. Kick the can down the road 1 year, have one more competitive season, and then know you're going to be up shit creek without a paddle. Or are you in that boat right now? And to me, it all hinges on Drew Brees. I never thought he was going to come back. I still don't really think he's going to come back.
I'm starting to convince myself that maybe Drew will come back and that maybe Marshawn Lattimore may be done. Because I feel like that's the guy that you would rather move on from. And if you think you can get some draft capital for him in this draft, it would help you out greatly, seeing as how you only have 3. So I think I'm starting to convince myself that could be the chosen path forward for the New Orleans Saints and for Sean Payton and company. Just let's give it one more shot. Let's see what we can get out of Marshawn Lattimore and go all in. If they do that, can they be back in the discussion next year? Can they be at the top of the NFC South? Can they make it to the, try to make it farther than they did in the playoffs this year? Is that feasible for them to make that run?
It is. I mean, they can do it for 1 year. I mean, it took a lot of doing. Don't get me wrong. And I mean, you talk about they would be in cap hell to a level that you have never seen before. Mm-hmm. The hope would be maybe the cap goes up markedly next year. Maybe the players get their way, and you're not as god awful killed as I think you're going to be.
After seeing what happened to the Pittsburgh Steelers this year, I would be afraid if I were the Saints of seeing how a quarterback falling apart can end. And it's not the end that you want to see for Drew Brees. So I'm still stuck on Drew needs to make his decision and do it pretty quickly. And it is expected that we will have some kind of announcement here in the next week or so.
You'll know something before free agency starts. Mm-hmm. League year opens two weeks from the day after tomorrow, so 16 days from now. You'll know something by then.
Mm-hmm. All right, ceiling for the New Orleans Saints could be playoff spot again, or
they could be 3-13 or 13-3. Nothing would shock me. I mean, we just don't know. This is a team that I wanted to push this team off because we don't know shit.
Yeah.
You know, this could be a team competing for Sam Howell, or it could be a team competing for the NFC South.
Yeah.
Neither one would shock me.
All right, don't forget to tune in with us again this afternoon on ESPN Asheville, 92.9 FM, 880 AM, and 1400. Sports Tank with Jeremy Greene, heard every weekday, 3 to 5. We'll be back here in the Wicked Weed studio tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. with more off-season files and, of course, everything going on in the sports world. I'm Tank Spencer, and he's Jeremy Greene.
Yeah.
See you this afternoon.